We'll do an example score using a piece by Gabriel Faure. Here we have the full score on the bottom right screen. Then I've split this excerpt into two. So the first half is here and the second half is here. It's a little bit bigger so you can see the notes more clearly. So what we'll do is, this will explain some of the features. We'll input the notes first. So hit N for note entry, and it's already quarter note. Pitch B. Next is what? C sharp. So first we will select the sharp, which is number 8, and then input the note, which is C. Oh, but that's an 8th note, so let's go back. There we go. And 8th note is 3. There we go. Then I can go to the next note. That would be a C double sharp. But you notice there's no double sharp. So what I have to go is go to the last one, which is also, the shortcut for that is F12. So we have F7, F8, F9, F10, and they all go to each one of these. So if I go to F12, that will come up for all these accidentals. So first select the accidental, which will be, in this case, this one. So there's my double sharp. And I will input C, double sharp. Next is just a regular sharp, so that would be an 8. And that would be D sharp. Then E, and then sharp F, and then a G. Escape. And of course, probably you'd want to save it. Ctrl S. But I won't save it because this is just an example. Next, we'll do the left hand. But if you notice something very interesting, there are some 16th notes in the treble clef or the right hand part. But if you look carefully, you see that they're really part of this accompaniment pattern, which is mostly in the left hand in the bass clef. So this is actually coming from here. You see 1/16 and then 3/16. So this is part of this. It's more clear here on the second beat, or sorry, on the third beat, where we have the 4/16 notes beamed together, but only the first is in the bass, the other 3 are in the treble. The final beat as well, we see that this is really the same musical idea, but because it's going high, it has been written separately in the treble clef. So we'll figure out how to do this. So if we come back to the Sibelius, first we will input the notes as if they were in the bass clef only. So I'll click in here, N for note entry, select the rhythm, 16th, and then if we're not in the correct place, we can always hit F7 to come back to here, or of course we can click here. So now A is the correct note. It's the wrong octave, so we can do Ctrl up arrow. Ctrl up arrow to come to the correct octave. So this is a very useful feature. Next is C double sharp. So I'm going to go to F12, select my double sharp, and then hit C. There we go. Next is D sharp. So first sharp, D, sharp, F, and then B. Now notice the B went up when it should be down an octave, so Control down arrow. Now the next note is also a B, but it's in the treble clef. I will pretend it's part of the bass clef. I will hit B, but then Control up arrow to raise it an octave. Next is C double sharp. It's doubling the soprano or the right hand. So double sharp, C, and then sharp, F. Ooh, but that should be coming down. So Control, down arrow. That looks correct. Next is G. Again, this G should be down an octave. Then E, again, up an octave. Then A sharp, sharp A, going up to B, and final beat coming down to B, which is down an octave. Control down arrow, then B up an octave, and now, ooh, a high G, so let's hit G, but it needs to be up an octave. Wow. Then another G, but down an octave, so Control down arrow. Okay, so now I've put in the correct notes, but they just look wrong compared to the score. Let's escape out of that. Now what we'll do is we'll first of all click in an empty area of the staff and just drag it down a bit. There we go. So we can see the notes clearly. First thing is that this should be a single stem, not beamed to these guys. So what we'll do is we will go to F8, F9, which is the third one here, and we're going to select the second one and ask it to start the beaming here. Right now, this is in the middle of the beam. We want to select this one, which is the start of the beam, which would be number 4, I believe. Oh no, number 7. There we go. So now this is a single beam. It's just a stem with a flag, and these three are beamed together, which is what the score has. But now these three notes need to be in the treble clef. So what we do is we select them. You can do Shift, or you can Control and click on each one of them. But Shift is faster. Click the first, Shift, select the last one. In note input, you can go to cross staff notes above. The shortcut is Ctrl Shift Up. Ctrl Shift Up. So now you notice that this has jumped into the treble clef, which is where we want it. But now you notice that it doesn't look right. The beaming needs to come down. So you can just click it and drag it down. And that looks better. Now you may have noticed something else, namely that the melody stem should go up. So we need to select voice 1, this line, and make the notes all go up. So we need to select all of them. Now you could press Control like this, and that would be tedious. Now if you did Shift, that also works in this case. Or you can select the first one and say select more, which is Ctrl Shift A, and that will also select more of the same. So that also is a bit quicker if you know the shortcut, Ctrl Shift A. Now we want to flip the stem, so the shortcut for flipping is X. Flipping is X. There we go. And we can see that that looks more like the score. Next one is this guy. Here, the first one is in the bass, but these three, so Shift, click, need to be in the treble clef. So we'll go to note input, cross staff notes above, Ctrl Shift Up. That looks pretty good. Next one, these three notes need to be note input, cross staff, which is Ctrl Shift Up. And the first one needs to be the start of the beam. So again, here we can click here, or we can hit the number 7, which is that one. Now this is looking more like the score. We can fine-tune things further. For example, this is a bit low. We can bring it up. We can even use the arrow, and that looks more like it. Same thing with this one. It needs to be no, that looks pretty good actually. Yeah, that's pretty good. What else is there? This should be angled. So what we'll do is we'll take it, drag it down, and we'll angle it by selecting the edge here. You'll notice a box up here. Let's zoom in. Box up here. We can drag this and then drag it up. Okay, and we'll try to get, so there we go. And that looks pretty good. Let's just, there we go. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Closer to the score. The next we have is dynamics, which is expression, which is Ctrl E, or you can go to text and hit expression, or you can say right click, text, expression. It's all the same. So it's blinking. Okay, so again, if you use the shortcut Ctrl E, click, it's blinking, right click and P. And the P is sort of a bit down here maybe. Next we have a P on the top. So what we can do is select this and Alt, click above. Yeah, okay, that will copy it. Okay, so you just select this, Alt click, and it will paste it in that location. Let me delete it. Next we have lines. We have lines, which is what is it in notations, lines. You can hit here to give more options, or you can just say L for lines, and that's faster. So we want a crescendo, and you just click where you want it. So oops, sometimes it goes to weird places. Let's try to, there we go. You have to make sure you're grabbing it. This can go higher. Then you can grab this, pull it out, or just use the arrow also for finer control. And this goes all the way to like the F sharp. Yeah, maybe you can come down a bit. Oops, select, down arrow. Yeah, and then maybe the P can come down to be more in line. Yeah, that looks about right now. And we have Decrescendo, which is Shift H. So this is H, I believe. And Decrescendo is Shift H. So let me try that, Shift H. And just click, and one will appear. Needs to be shorter, so grab the handle on the end. Let's make this go a little bit this way. And this one also needs to come a little bit tighter inside here. Yeah, that looks better. Now another thing that's useful is, notice that this crescendo is smaller in the score, but this is the same size as this. See? So we'll select this and go to Inspector. Inspector is a very useful tool. We can select it, open Inspector, and then hit Q size. Notice it's smaller now, which is similar to the score. Another thing that Inspector is useful for is manually moving notes around. For example, if you need to manually move notes for some reason, you can't do it. If you select, for example, if I go left, right, it's not happening. So what you can do is go to Inspector, and I've selected both of them. You can offset the X, which is the horizontal. So for example, you can go negative, or you can type in a number yourself. So let's say for some reason I want this to be more left, I can do negative X number, or I can do a more positive X number. And then it will move it like that. So you can customize the precise location of notes as well. Let's say 0. Okay. Okay, then the last thing we have is a slur between here and here. So I'm gonna select that mount and hit S. Notice it should be up here, so while it's selected I can just hit X and it will go to the correct thing. You can also modify the slur. For example, in the score it's flatter, so you can, this is more down. Let's zoom in. The handle, you can bring it more down. It's actually touching. Ooh, it doesn't want to touch. Okay, that's fine. And then, yeah, it's a bit flatter overall. It's a bit flatter. Maybe this is a bit more up. Something like that, okay? Then we have a slur here, so just to the next note, so just hit S. Ooh, that's weird. Hit X, and there we go. So that's